Hi everyone, good morning. Thanks for joining us for our webinar, Why Wait, Collaborate, Best Collaborative Practices with the Atlassian Toolset. Our next webinar is scheduled for April 15th at 11 a.m. Central. This webinar is designed to show you Percipio Consulting's newest enterprise SaaS offering and will be delivered by Christopher Pepe. As you have questions, please be sure to provide them via the questions utility in the GoToWebinar control panel. We'll be sure to queue them up and answer them towards the end of the session. On the webinar today from Percipio Consulting, we have Brian Nye. Brian is a solutions architect and will be presenting today's webinar. My name is Shayla Sander. I'm a business development manager for Percipio Consulting, and I'll be serving as your moderator. We've been Atlassian expert partners for over 6 years now and are one of 5 platinum enterprise experts in the country. Over 99% of our projects are Atlassian related, and we have hundreds of clients across the U.S., ranging in size from 20-person companies to Fortune 20 enterprises spanning many different industries. We help our clients with process-centric technology solutions that facilitate traditional business process management, IT service management based on ITIL, and software development life cycles. In the SDLC space, we're helping clients transition from waterfall to agile, so whatever widgets you produce, we help improve the quality and throughput at the lowest cost. We support our clients in all facets of the Atlassian product suite and build methodologies and solutions across the entire product line. This includes solutions architecting and implementations, licensing, upgrades and maintenance, solutions, managed services, hosting, add-on development, and training. So now we'll go ahead and turn things over to Brian to lead us through today's webinar.
Thanks for the great introduction, Shayla. Again, my name is Brian Nye, and I am a solutions architect with Percipio Consulting. I am a certified Scrum Master and a SAFe program consultant. When I'm not working with my clients to design processes that fit their business goals, typically I'm outside enjoying the many beautiful trails here in North Carolina. All right, so today's webinar is all about collaboration, how you and your company can start building and enhancing your process to support more effective collaboration in your organization. We're going to talk about collaboration in 5 different sections. We're going to talk about collaborate your culture. So before we even get into any of this tool-specific things you can do to help collaboration within your culture, we're going to understand your current collaborative environment. We're also going to talk about working together in Jira. Now, most of you are probably using Jira, but how supportive is it to collaboration in your organization? We're going to discuss some best practices in order to really help that collaboration process. We're also going to talk about keeping Confluence clean and clear. I think everybody can agree that Confluence is one of the strongest collaboration tools in the Atlassian product suite, but if it's not planned out well, you may find it really difficult for you and your team to use it as a great collaboration tool. We're also going to discuss socializing with HipChat. If you don't have HipChat, you're really missing out. We'll discuss how you can bring both Jira and Confluence to the party too with HipChat. And last, we're going to discuss really connecting with your code. This last section will discuss how even the dev tools can keep your teams collaborating together. So collaborate your culture. Merriam-Webster defines collaboration as the ability to work with another person or group in order to achieve or do something. Many organizations understand that when 2 or more people discuss an issue, their synergy can take that good idea to a great idea. But collaboration is a tricky thing, and building collaboration into a culture is not as easy as flipping on a switch. So in this section, we're going to take a few minutes and talk about what you can do to make your culture a collaborative one. So every organization has a pre-established culture, and regardless of your organization's size or age, some form of culture exists and you must recognize it for what it is. You can change a culture, but it's not something that is easy to do, and it'd take work to really make it a collaborative one if you don't currently have that. I think it's important because efforts to enforce or enhance collaboration must fit seamlessly within the context of your organization. 4 styles of collaboration are quick to fall apart. If you don't believe me, think about how many times you've had meetings and A, you just didn't participate, or B, did not pertain to you or your group. All of that time could have been spent doing something else, but the organizer wanted you to contribute or gain something from it, so you attended. The first step to any successful implementation is to know your culture and how individuals prefer to collaborate both inside and outside of the office. This is important because interactions need to feel organic and natural for individuals to be involved. People typically want to socialize their ideas. When people talk about positive collaboration experiences, they usually involve the words quick, efficient, clear, easy. If the collaboration experience is negative, how likely will those individuals want to get together again? And chances if they do get together again, they probably will not find that the ideas flow freely, and it's just going to lead to a time waste for them. And the worst thing you could possibly do is build in wasted time into your process. That's just not a principle of lean and shouldn't be a principle that anybody wants to do. Although this probably is not shocking news, why do companies consistently implement tools and processes that prevent positive collaboration experiences from happening? Well, the answer is simple. We gave you a wrench to hammer nails. Don't laugh too hard, this happens all the time. Wrenches are extremely useful tools and they can be used to hammer nails, but they may not be the most effective and efficient way to do the job. Now stop and think about your tools and your processes. Are they helping to support collaboration in your culture, or are they just throwing a wrench into your productivity potential? Collaboration should feel natural to people on your team, and having processes and tools implemented with that social interaction piece will help. It's not the total solution, but they do help. Atlassian has a rich collaboration features packed in all of its products to keep the teams communicating with each other and information flowing to all levels of an organization. And again, you're saying, I have the full line of Atlassian products and collaboration is still not happening, so it's not working for me. I still feel like I'm holding a wrench. Well, maybe you are. The flexibility that you get with the Atlassian product suite can be a blessing and a curse if you're not seeing the collaborative gains that you thought you would by merely implementing one or all the tools into your ecosystem. So through the next 4 sections, we're going to talk about some common issues that we see when working with our clients here at Percipio Consulting that will help you develop better collaboration practices within your organization. So let's start with working together with Jira. Jira does more than tracks issues. It is a communication hub of work being done. So many individuals rely on the information put into the tool that it's important to think through how you set up your projects. So in this section, we're going to discuss how to make Jira a more collaborative place for everyone that's working within the Jira environment. The biggest mistake people make when designing Jira, they want Jira to manage their people. Now, give that a second for it to sink in. Jira can do a lot of things, but this one thing Jira should not be doing. Jira is a tool and should be treated as such. Jira should be designed to collect enough information for individuals to efficiently do their work, as well as give insight as to how the project is advancing. Designing Jira to be a surrogate manager changes the way people interact with the product and prevents collaboration across the team. A client once said, "Well, I can force my people to use the tool." And sure, you can make people log information into Jira, but they feel like they're forced to do this. How likely are they really going to use the tool to collaborate with others? Chances are pretty slim. So, how can you design Jira to be more collaborative and prevent this kind of situation? Over the next 3 slides, I will discuss some of the biggest offenses that keep people from wanting to interact with Jira. Let's start with step 1, simplify a workflow design. A simplified workflow keeps individuals focused on the task at hand rather than feeling like they have to feed the Jira beast with clicks and useless data. Jira can feel like it's micromanaging individuals when the workflow design forces them to transition an issue based on the task that's being done by an individual. They'll see no benefit and will likely spend less time wanting to interact with the system. When individuals no longer want to interact with the system, collaboration will start to dwindle away. Clearly, there is a benefit to having a simplified workflow for employees, but how can a manager see what's going on without this information? I'm a firm believer that managers should interact with their team by reviewing key performance indicators and asking intelligent questions based on the information in front of them. So this is why I suggest step 2, use the right information to ask the right question. So take the time to set up dashboards to pull out information that's most important to you. Some great gadgets for this are the time and status gadget, the created versus resolved, issues statistics, and the roadmap gadget. Be sure to share this dashboard, which is really, really important as well. If an employee knows that this information is important to their manager, they will make it important to them. Dashboards, Agile boards, and Jira Agile reports, and Jira reports for that matter, should be a time for interaction between management and employees to review, address, and adjust plans based on the information that they have in front of them. And now we've got step 3, learn when to notify. We were taught at a young age that we shouldn't push others. This holds true in Jira. Pay attention to your notification scheme. Far too frequently, managers will want to use Jira to push notifications to their team on far too many points within an issue. This leads to email rules to filter out the Jira noise, and people start missing out on potential collaboration points. If you need to make sure that the team and maybe an individual see and react to an issue, you can utilize HipChat to notify the group. We all spend way too much time cleaning out our inboxes, so let's cut the waste and modernize the way we communicate. Jira also provides the ability to really interact with one another by using the app mentions in the commenting section. So there's many different points in which people can start really chatting with one another and putting their ideas together to really develop the best thing that their team is working on. So in this section, we're going to talk about keeping Confluence clean and clear. Confluence is the most collaborative piece of software in the Atlassian space. Where many people run into a problem is keeping Confluence clean and clear. In this section, we'll look at the 4 most common issues clients have with Confluence and how you can mitigate those issues and collaborate with confidence. Let's start with issue number one. Confluence is too messy. And this is something that I've heard from numerous clients who did a Confluence installation on their own and just started using the product without really thinking through what their space should look like. And that Confluence can become a dumping ground. Employees will spend too much time searching through what they need and become frustrated with the product, and then that'll lead to reduction of use. And again, just like Jira, if you're not in there using the tool, then you're not getting the most collaboration that you can get from the tool. So in order to prevent this, you really need to structure for success by thinking through how the space will be used. And what I mean by that is, think through how that page tree is going to look once people start adding information to it. Does that space structure really work for you, or is it working against you? Will your employees be able to readily find the information that they need, or will they spend most of their time searching for those product requirements and less time actually developing the product? To help with this, utilize those space templates and those create from template macros to keep information organized. And and how that keeps people organized is the fact that you can create space templates that look just like the templates that are the blueprints that come out of Confluence naturally. Also, you need to make a plan for keeping Confluence organized, and by that, there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, I always recommend to have what I like to call a Confluence czar, and that's someone that can keep the content in the right home and ensure that it's relevant. You should also have a good archiving strategy. And there are plugins on the marketplace that can help with retiring old and underused content. But you have to really go in thinking how you're going to keep Confluence from getting messy. And those are two ways that you can do that very thing and really make that experience much more user-friendly. So let's talk about issue number two. I already have a document repository. And many clients think they have everything they need in their other document repositories. But do they help bolster a collaborative environment? If you're using one of those other document repositories, think about how many times someone complains that they can't work on the document because somebody else is already in there working with it. It would be nice if everybody could have access to the document when you're creating those product requirements and maybe taking meeting notes. And in Confluence, you can do that. With the latest version of Confluence, everybody can be working at the document at one time and changes seamlessly merge together. Another great feature is the inline comments, because the inline comments clearly identifies where the collaborator sees a need for a change. And the awesome part is that this inline commenting can also be used as on documents as well. So you can attach PDF documents straight into Confluence, and then as the user is going through and maybe reviewing the PDF and wants to add some sort of information to a particular diagram or wants to comment on a particular sentence, they can easily drop a pin, make that comment, and really start interacting with the owner of that particular document. Confluence also has the ability to link to a knowledge base, which again, I know I talked a little bit about knowledge bases before, but it's really a way that people can self-service answers and guides people on how to do their work. So it's really important that you have a nice knowledge base out there for individuals to go to so that way they can find answers themselves and then be more productive. Also, one last thing, I like the Confluence questions. It really helps to boost that collaboration experience. I can easily create a question and then pool the entire resource of the company, or if I even open it up to the outside world, everyone, so that way I can get the best answer and others can then share from that same information. All right, let's talk about issue number 3. I can do everything in Jira. And you can do a lot of things in Jira, but Confluence helps the birthing process for your ideas. You can create, collaborate, and solidify those requirements before the issue is created in Jira. Now, I've had clients tell me that they prefer to keep everything within Jira, but the downfall that they run into is that requirements may change, and they're not sure that those requirements are up to date in the Jira issue ticket because maybe their product management isn't familiar with how the tool works, or maybe they don't even have access into the tool, so they're keeping their requirements in a different document and not actually getting that information over into the Jira issue where the actual developer is working, which leads to the two not meshing and then the wrong things getting developed. And that, my friends, is waste. So really using Confluence can help keep Jira clean and instills confidence in the employees that they are working on the right thing. Another thing that I really like with Confluence is that you can plan out a roadmap for your ideas. And as you can see on the screen, this is the new roadmap macro that allows you to plan out a timeline of what the work is going to be before committing in Jira or even in Jira Portfolio. So this isn't a solution to Jira Portfolio. This is really a way to help enhance Jira Portfolio, in my personal opinion, because you can do a step before you start creating those issues and of your initiatives, your epics, and your stories by kind of outlining these all out on the roadmap macro and really start putting some ideas together as far as what that timeline is going to look like with the milestones within Confluence, and then start some of that requirements documentation right there and connect it to those bars, so that way you've already started the process of building out the requirements and you can have people collaborate on that idea. And then you can go ahead and start making those initiatives, epics, and stories within Jira Portfolio. And then when you have everything mapped out with those right resources, you can go ahead and commit those issues into Jira, which really rounds out the way you can utilize the Atlassian platform to start planning out what your next piece of product is going to look like. All right, let's talk about issue number 4. I can't get people to collaborate in Confluence. And again, Confluence shouldn't feel like another system that your employees need in order to do work. It should feel like they have to have it in order to do their work. That is the hub of where they can go and get information that they need, so that way they can share and really utilize each other to help with that synergy that you're looking for within your organization. So make sure that you realize what all the social aspects are within Confluence. So by social aspects, I mean the app mentions, the blogs, and the personal spaces that you can build within Confluence. I know personally, I use the app mention all the time to bring people in to look at a document that I've created. And you can use that both in the inline comments as well as in the comments down at the bottom. Blogs are another great way to kind of tell your story and maybe point out something new that you've learned, or keep people interacting with the system outside of strictly creating those product requirements and what people may consider the boring stuff. This helps build that social network aspect that people really are into nowadays, and it keeps people within the system. Also, I really like having personal spaces. I know personally for me, before I launch anything into the regular space here at Principio Consulting, I document things in my personal space to really allow me to free flow my ideas without cluttering up the actual space where people are doing real work. And then once I'm ready, I go ahead and merge it into the actual space by simply just doing a page move, and it'll move that page and all its children pages to the correct space. Another thing that we're going to also talk about in this next section is integrating Confluence to HipChat, and that really helps keep the conversation going. If you feel like Confluence may be a little too cold, which is one of the comments that I've had from customers, you can really change the way Confluence looks by using a product like ThemePress from Brickit. It really helps to give Confluence a more appealing feel, more of that web feeling, and you can really change the way the Confluence looks so that way you get the right type of interaction that you're looking from your employees. So for those individuals that are very touchy-feely and want that warm feeling, I would really recommend looking into one of these products that can change the face of Confluence and give it a nice facelift. All right, we're now ready to talk a little bit about HipChat. HipChat is more than instant messaging. It's a lifeline for communicating within the team. Every day, our team at Principio Consulting uses HipChat to discuss an issue or develop ideas on the fly. From one-on-one messaging to group chat rooms, and even video chat with screen sharing and file sharing, HipChat helps keep your team socializing with a purpose. And in this next section, we will review how HipChat can integrate with Jira and Confluence to keep your teams collaborating. Let's talk about integrating HipChat and Jira. If you're looking for a way to ensure your team has up-to-date information within your Jira project, I highly recommend connecting it to HipChat. Atlassian has made this process super easy. Simply navigate to the administration menu in your project and select HipChat integration. Now all you need to do is point to the room that you want to have your notification sent. Don't want to hit the room with every kind of issue? Not a problem. Simply filter down what types of issues are pushed or perhaps only be notified if an issue transitions to a particular state. One good use case for this is if you have a transition or a state called blocked. So anytime an issue hits the blocked state, I could simply notify the HipChat room. This would give an opportunity for developers to jump in and take action to help the person that may be blocked become unblocked and finish their work. HipChat can connect with Confluence too. Just like connecting HipChat and Jira, you can notify a HipChat room when documents are created in a space. This works great when you want to be up to date on the documents that keep your business running. The great part about notifying HipChat is I can simply click the link in the HipChat window and be taken to the Confluence document. Now there's no reason for your team not to be up to date on the most current information in the company. If you don't have HipChat, try it today. I'm sure you're going to love it. I wanted to be sure to give the dev tools some love as well, so I wanted to discuss how you can even collaborate when you're talking about the code. All right, let's talk about Bamboo, Bitbucket, Stash, Fisheye, and Crucible. If you're developing software, you really should be using these products to get your code created and deployed. First, let's discuss Bamboo and how it can help with collaboration too. Bamboo will let you see the unit testing as you work. This is important because it allows you to discover issues when they're small and drive quality in the right direction. Bugs are costly, and using Bamboo can help you prevent issues before they become too big. When you have a group of developers depending on one another to build the best code in the world, Bamboo will help you verify that code compiles and the test passed. Using Bamboo to automate your build process will let your developers know that they are working with solid code, allowing them to work together with confidence. When it comes to Bitbucket and Stash, you can encapsulate a body of work as a Jira issue. This will allow you to see the status of what's going on with that body of work all within one place. Bitbucket and Stash will help you know where your code has been. With this information, you are able to enable code review to naturally occur within your process. And speaking of code review, Fisheye and Crucible can help you automate your code review. This product is one of the best for those non-Git shops to help coders collaborate on their peer reviews. In summary, assess your collaboration culture. Think about how your teams will interact and put the right tools and processes in place that will enhance the way they communicate at work. Keep Jira focused on the task. It's important to keep Jira lean so your team can focus on their work rather than work to keep Jira fat and happy with useless information. Remember, Confluence is only as good as it's designed. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. HipChat keeps your team working. Some organizations feel like HipChat will keep work from being done. I disagree. I say that HipChat is the one reason that work is getting done by giving instant access to colleagues when issues arise. Finally, dev tools like to collaborate too. Atlassian has packed all of its products full of ways to keep teams informed on what's going on to ensure the best product possible is being produced by the companies who use their tools. And now I'd like to take a few minutes and demonstrate some of the principles that we talked about today.
All right, now it's time for our demonstration here. We got our demonstration space at Percipio, and we're going to walk through some of the concepts that we had discussed earlier. I want to point out a few things on how you can really make collaboration nice and easy within both Confluence and Jira. We are going to start off here in Confluence, and as you can see, I just set up this sample page just to kind of give you a nice overview of what a nicely organized front page looks like for Confluence. As you can see over here to the side, I have what would you want to do, which basically is giving the viewer the opportunity to go and understand what different sections I may want to point them in. This is nicer than having just the page tree off to the side because it gives me a bit more description as to what I would be able to find in here. And all these are just links that I did to the pages that are the main pages, so that way they can go in and then maybe dig deeper or create new pages off of those pages. To the right here I do have the task list, which is just basically pulling out any of these activity boxes that we've put on our other pages. We do have one, it looks like it's in a meeting notes page that we assigned to George Jetson, and he needs to take a look at this presentation, and it's due on April 2nd. And you get some information based off of the pieces of information that we had put into the actual activity itself. Also, if you're using Confluence questions, I really like doing this, is basically putting a separate panel that really calls out if you have questions, go ahead and ask the experts, which this is basically just using the create from template macro, in which you can go ahead and click and create a new question and get into there. And actually, let's go ahead and start in Confluence questions. I just want to hit the questions button up here at the top. Actually, if I were to click this Ask the Experts question right here, I can go ahead and type in a question if I wanted to. Whatever thing that I would curious about, I can type that in and ask the question, simply also tagging it with what it pertains to. What I'm actually going to do is just show you some of the questions that have been asked. By clicking on the questions, I get in here. It looks like here George Jetson did ask a question, how can I be a better collaborator? And since I know the answer is to watch my webinar, I'm just going to go ahead and type that in. And I can go ahead and save that, and now I have answered the question. By answering the question, I've given some information not only to George, but I've also given information to other people who may be wondering the same question. It's really important that if you do use Confluence questions, that you go in and you start answering these questions that have been asked. If you don't answer the questions, the product becomes stale, people won't use it. So it is important that if you decide to go this route, that you really utilize the tool by making sure that people are assigned as watchers to particular issues, so that way they can, or topics, so that way they can go in and answer those questions as they're being asked. I'm going to go back into this collaboration space and point out a few more things. So if you use Confluence, you are pretty familiar with, I'm sure, the blueprint templates that come out of Confluence out of the box, which are some of the ones that we often use are meeting notes, product requirements, retrospectives, and the decision log. I also created one called initiatives that I just want to show you. Now the initiatives is not a blueprint that's out of the box in Confluence, but I created a landing page that looks very similar to the blueprints found out of the box, just to keep a nice consistency between different pages. It doesn't throw the user off as much. And in here is basically just a page properties report macro. And up here I did another create from template macro. I'm going to go ahead and click in here just to show you that you can create a template basically. Of course, you can go ahead and put the date in. Just make me the owner by using that @mention feature. And I will go ahead and give this a status. Do the status macro in here real quick. Let's say this is draft. By doing this page property, what I'm doing essentially is mapping it back to that top page, so that way they have that information in there. As you can see in this template, I went ahead and put helper text in here that just kind of gives some additional pieces of information, allowing the user to know exactly what type of information needs to be filled out here. And this instructional text is found in any template macro that you have, so you can go ahead and put instructional text in. It really helps the user. Once you click into it and start typing, it's going to disappear, so I can go ahead and put some information in here. Even though it's not really a great objective statement, but you get the picture. Once I save, instructional text goes away, so you don't have it visible anymore. Here's one of the new features in the latest release of Confluence, which is this roadmap planner macro, which allows you to go in and start planning out some initiatives and how you actually are going to maybe do your work over the next time period. And let me go ahead and show you this. All you have to do is just click on it and hit edit. And then you're able to add a new lane. You can add new bars or add one of these new markers. So this is great if you want to start maybe planning out your initiatives or planning out these long-term things that you may not necessarily want to put into Jira Portfolio if you're using Jira Portfolio, or if you're not, you can use this as a pseudo substitute of at least planning out things by going in and just entering in information. You can create, lengthen or shorten the bar based off of what time period, or move the bar to the exact time period that you're going to be using it. You can also move your marker around. You can change the name of the marker itself as well as any of the bars by indicating, just clicking on it and editing it and typing in the name that you want to change it to, as well as these lanes as well. You can add a new bar, you can rename the lane, obviously you can change the lane color, to make it representative of what you want. In this settings box, you're also able to distinguish the time period. It does keep everything in months right now, but you can at least tell it what time frame that you're looking to have as your time frame. And remember, this is to be used as an overview of what that initiative is. Well, we're using it for initiatives or whatever project it is, just to kind of outline time periods. Also, another thing that I'd like to point out is that you can link pages or create a page from this. So I can link to a new page if I wanted to by just hitting search. So let's just say upgrades the page. So now I've linked this particular bar to that upgrades page. Or I can create a new page from this. And by clicking that, it's going to take me into my create macro. So maybe I want to create a new product requirement off of this. I can go ahead and hit create. And from here, it's going to go ahead and create that page. Just go ahead and save this so that way you can see some of these features back here in initiative. We now have that page properties report macro pulling in the information that we put in our page property from before, so that way I have some additional pieces of information. So again, really thinking through how you're going to set up your Confluence page is important, just so that we have information that you can quickly access. There's one other feature that I want to show you in the new Confluence, which is that inline editing or inline comment feature. So in this particular product requirements page, I have made some comments on this right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this presentation. So in here, I didn't like the way the font was, and I knew George was the owner, so I said, just change the font, George. And it looks like he's already responded back that he'll change this. He's going to change the template, so I can go ahead and resolve this if he's fixed my answer, or I could also reply a comment back. So I could say, George, now what that's going to do on George's screen is up at the top, in his work box, he's going to have some comment, or he's going to be notified that he had mentioned, or I had mentioned him in that particular comment. So he can go straight into it and see that comment. This is where he mentioned me back in a comment that said, yeah, I used the wrong template. I will correct this in the next meeting. I can go ahead and open that specifically and be taken straight to that comment page, which was also on the same slide, maybe a little further down. If I feel that that is going to fix the problem, I can just go ahead and say it's resolved. The comment doesn't go away. You can still pull up the comments if you go in here, and you can see the resolved comments for those specific things, which would be in this presentation specifically. To make new comments, it's super simple. All you have to do is highlight a stretch of words. And it doesn't have to be a whole stretch. You can do just a single stretch or a single word if you wanted to and add an inline comment. Just going to ask George to go ahead and address this and save it. And again, just like in the document, this comment is going to be put into his work box, so that way he can go ahead and take a look and maybe address that specific piece of information. You can still do comments to the entire page like you were able to do before in Confluence. The nice part about the inline edit is I know specifically where it is that the comment was made, so that way I can go straight to that and make those corrections as needed. Of course, we're collaborating with Jira, so we've got this Jira links up here at the top so we can go ahead and see some of those pieces of information. So I'm just going to go ahead and shoot over to this issue that has been linked over from that page. And in here, I just wanted to show you that, the nice part about having just a nice simple workflow. So here in this workflow, all I have is open, in progress, ready for QA, in testing, and closed. And I can transition to close from any status with that global transition there. This is allowing me just so that way I have a nice inline path. I'm not tasking at the individual's work level, so I know that it's in progress. I don't know specifically what's going on with this issue, but I can use some other pieces of information to really dig in and find out what that in progress is if needed. Typically what I always recommend is that people you're using their Agile boards, so that way they can monitor what pieces of information are going on from a team. I can go in here and see all the different types of issues that are going on with my team in this current sprint, and then I can address them specifically. Maybe I want to address the ones that are with flags currently. I have these shortcuts up here so that way I can go ahead and see these flagged issues quickly, so that way we can address those first in our stand-ups. Or possibly I want to go in and talk about just the things that are in this particular version that we're working on. Of course, one of the things we talked about were the pull notifications. So I'm not being pushed information from Jira to a user. I'm actually pulling that information out myself. One of the things I always recommend is having two different types of dashboards at least. One that's more of a manager view that's more appropriate, that gives me a high-level overview of all the issues that are going on with this product that I'm developing or my project itself. This may not pertain to all of my developers, so I would recommend developing a dashboard that's more specific to them and tailored to their needs. Maybe that searches on or has the JQL in it that indicates that it's for this specific user, so that way they can quickly pull up information as well. Again, with dashboards, you can always create a dashboard and share that with individuals, so that way the information looks the same across the dashboard, but they can't go in and actually change the dashboard up. If they want to, they would need to copy it and make it their own dashboard. But all these pieces help you really build a collaborative environment using the tools where you're able to communicate out what's important and have conversations that are relevant and keep the conversation going based off of information that they've entered into either Jira or Confluence.
All right, so now it's time to go ahead and take a couple of questions. So the first question, what things in more detail can Brickit and ThemePress improve/change in Confluence?
Sorry about that, Sheila. What was that question one more time, please?
Yeah, sure. So what things in more detail can Brickit and ThemePress improve/change in Confluence?
So Brickit really enables you to change the way Confluence looks. It basically, like I said in the thing, it gives it a facelift, meaning that you can add graphics to Confluence, really change the way the page is presented. If you want a good example in my opinion, of what Brickit does, ThemePress, to change the way Confluence looks, take a look at Precipio.com. That's merely an outward-facing Confluence page that we've taken and changed the appearance of, so that way it has the feel of a typical website. This allows people to interact with it the way they would any other type of website, a little bit more friendlier to the user, which I think personally really helps them feel like they can use the product a little bit easier.
Okay, great. So next question. So in what version of Confluence is the roadmap macro available?
Sure. The roadmap macro is available in 5.7, and that is also the same with the inline commenting as well. So both of those are part of that release for Confluence, as well as the merging of documents. So two people can collaborate on the same document. They'll merge the changes together. It's really awesome. We use them quite a bit here at Percipio, and I love that feature personally.
Okay, thanks. So how do you include the question box in any page?
The question box that was shown where I had ask the experts, I'm assuming is what they're asking, that was a create from template macro that allows you to go ahead and click that button, and it would pull up that Confluence questions page itself. You can actually have that button say anything because it is a create from template macro. So I put ask the experts, but you could certainly have it say ask a question or whatever it is that you feel would be most appropriate to get people to interact.
Okay, so next one. Inline comments do not appear in the comments section. Why is that?
Correct. The inline comments are going to appear just where the comment was made. They separated out the two from what I understand is that way people can directly see where the comments is focused at with the inline comments, and then it prevents people from having the comments displayed down at the bottom of the page where they would have to then rifle through and try to figure out exactly what it is the person was indicating up in the page above. I know that before that feature was implemented in Confluence, it sometimes is difficult to find out exactly what it is that somebody was trying to indicate in the comment section below on the page. With the inline comments, it at least puts the comment right there where the text is that the question is coming from, and allows that individual to then go and reference that, figure out what it is that they want to reply back with or make a change, and then go ahead and resolve it. The questions don't disappear, or the comments don't disappear. They are able to be pulled back up, as I showed in the demo, where you can just go in, click that dialog box, it'll bring it up. You can select, show me the resolved questions, and I can pull up all those comments that were made in line. So it just helps the user find out exactly, pinpoint what it is that they wanted to know.
Great, thanks, Brian. Next question. So at Summit last year, I saw a screen called Versions Reimagined that pulled together info from Jira, Bitbucket, etc. At the version level on one dashboard. Do you know if that's available yet?
I don't know if that's available yet.
Okay, and Sue, we can, if you want to email that question to sales@percipio.com, we can do a little bit more investigative work and try and find an answer for you. So let's see, next question. What makes HipChat better than all other IM tools?
Personally, for me, with HipChat, especially since we are using the Atlassian tool stack here at Percipio, what makes it great is the fact that it integrates very seamlessly with the other Atlassian applications that we're using. So it'll send us notifications through that integration piece. We don't have to try to use REST APIs to pull out the information that we want and be very specific, especially with the how they've updated HipChat with Jira to specifically when its issue hits a certain state, give me that issue in my HipChat. It doesn't just constantly spam the HipChat room, which makes it, again, more of a collaborative approach to it. We're able to have exactly the type of information that we want pushed out to individuals rather than just spamming a room full of information. That's the worst thing that anybody could do. Just like the notifications that we talked about earlier, is spamming somebody with information that they're not going to act on. It just becomes noise, and then people start filtering out noise through filters, or with HipChat, they just ignore the room, and that's not what you want it to do. So personally, that's why I prefer HipChat, and I think that's one of the big selling points.
All right, great, thanks. That's it for all of our questions. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their schedule to join us today and remind you that our next webinar is going to be April 15th at 11 a.m. We're going to give you a sneak peek to our newest hosting offering that provides enterprise services on a SaaS model. So don't miss that. If you have any outstanding questions, you can email those to sales@precipio.com. And thank you very much. Everyone have a great day.